join the effort, we have long-term work, competitive pay, and the best benefits in the industry. We pride ourselves on innovative training and commitment to worksite safety. Earn as you learn as an apprentice. A solid career built on a solid legacy. For more info, go to carpenters.com.
Are you searching for a college where you belong? Calumet College of St. Joseph wants to know you and give you the support you need to succeed. Are you worried about how you'll pay for your degree? 95% of our students receive financial aid, including scholarships and grants. Need some extra help with your classes? You'll benefit from our small class sizes, free tutoring, internship planning, faculty mentors, and so much more. Come experience our accepting, supportive college family for yourself. Schedule your campus visit and apply at ccsj.edu.
Planting a tree, installing a fence, whether your project is big or small, NIPSCO reminds you to know what's below and contact 811 at least 2 full business days before doing any digging so that utility companies can mark the location of their underground lines. Contacting 811 is free and it's the law. Avoid possible penalties, costly repairs, or injuries. DIY or a pro, safety is in your hands. Every dig, every time.
If you're thinking of finishing your basement, installing outdoor security cameras, or your business has plans to break ground on a new project in 2024, Powering Indiana, Lake County is your source for the region's best electricians. With IBEW, Local 697 electricians, you're choosing the highest level of safety and reliability. Visit poweringindiana.org today and ensure your project is in the hands of skilled professionals.
Before Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, we were being charged various maintenance fees and various check writing fees for all of our accounts. And with Notre Dame, we don't have that. We have that true community partnership. We get interest based on all of our parish and school accounts, and the interest rate is really second to none.
Have you ever considered becoming an iron worker? Local 395 is now accepting applications for their apprenticeship program. Go to ironworkers395.com. Look under the training section, click on apprenticeship, and scroll down to the application. You must be 18 years old, have a high school diploma or GED, and you must be physically able to perform the work of the trade. Find out more by calling the apprenticeship school in Lake Station at 219-962-7675 or visit ironworkers395.com.
Fishing for a seafood meal without the stress or mess of cooking? Leave the work to the Strachan Van Til Seafood Department. For just $1 extra per pound, we'll fry, grill, or steam your fish with your choice of 3 kinds of breading. Try our fish and seafood dinners. Each includes a ½ pound each of seafood and fries, and a ¼ pound of coleslaw. Want the freshest catch in town? Reel in the fish and seafood selections from your local Strachan Van Til.
right, good Thursday morning. It is April 2nd, 2026, and you are listening to the PNW Today program streaming on WJOB, JED TV, and JED TV podcasts. My name is Cale Wilk. I am a communication specialist in the Office of Marketing Communications at Purdue University Northwest. And if anyone's looking on the video feed, we have a really wonderful topic to be able to discuss today. We're talking all things PNW Day of Giving. And to help launch us for this first segment, I'm just going to go down the line here for who we have joining us. To my immediate left, we have Yvonne Lopez, who is our annual giving and donor communication specialist in the Division of Institutional Advancement. Yvonne, thank you so much for being here on this morning.
Thank you, Cale.
We also have one of our esteemed alumni. We have Jill Jones, who is a 1993 PNW graduate and also the founder of Jones Consulting, LLC. Jill, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks.
And last but not least, we have Dr. Laura Mannion, who is our Director of Development with the Division of Institutional Advancement at PNW. And I also should have said, I shouted out that Jill is an alum, but also Yvonne and Laura, they are also alumni. So it's just an alumni power segment here. But Laura, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Truly my pleasure. Thank you.
So before we dive into our main topic here, let me just go ahead and shout out a few quick upcoming events. If you are a prospective student and you want to learn more about all the great opportunities and resources that are at Purdue University Northwest, we encourage you to take a look at and register for our upcoming Preview PNW events. So go to pnw.edu/preview, and you can go ahead and find the information for the upcoming dates that we have. We're going to have sessions at our Westville campus on April 23rd, as well as our Hammond campus on April 25th. And these are great events to be able to participate in because you have an opportunity to tour our beautiful facilities and our campuses, get to interact with our student ambassadors, our faculty and staff members that we have, and to really get an idea of what your picture could look like with a PNW student experience. So again, go to pnw.edu/preview to learn more. And if you remember from the last time that we had the PNW Today program, we were talking about Days of Discovery. That's one of our upcoming events that we have this spring, where it's where we have our opportunity to showcase some of the awesome student research engagements and initiatives that have been going on. There's probably going to be several hundred poster presentations, I anticipate, that are going to be on campus in Alumni Hall for that day. And it is absolutely fabulous to see all the initiatives and the research questions that our students are doing. They do a phenomenal job. So if you want to check that out, as well as to hear from our keynote speaker, Lulu Miller, the author of the best-selling book, Why Fish Don't Exist, go to pnw.edu/discover to learn more. And we're probably going to touch on this a little bit during our program, but got to shout out, if you are a supporter of Purdue University Northwest, if you're a passionate alum, if you're a member of the PNW campus community, please be sure to check out our specialty group recognition license plate that we have available through the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles. And every single purchase of this license plate, $25 of that goes directly toward student scholarships at Purdue University Northwest. Go to pnw.edu/license-plate to learn more. And last but not least, we always got to shout out our friends in athletics. So I'm just going to give a quick message that spring sports are underway. If you want to go ahead and check out our baseball, softball, women's flag football, and stunt teams, we've also got tennis, golf, go to pnwathletics.com to find tickets and schedule information, and come cheer on our wonderful student athletes. All right, so that was just a quick list of items that are coming up on the calendar. Again, we are talking about PNW Day of Giving for our show. And so to help with this first segment, we have a power group here of alumni. We got Yvonne Lopez, Jill Jones, and Laura Mannion here to help tell us more, first off, about what PNW Day of Giving is all about. So Yvonne, I'm going to tee you up first. Tell us why this day is so special for us.
This day is so special for Purdue Northwest because this is our largest annual giving campaign to support PNW students and the resources that benefit them, from our student scholarships, our student food pantry, and emergency student funds.
Absolutely. And what date is that going to be coming up?
That is going to be on April 29th. It is a Wednesday, almost about 4 weeks from today, technically yesterday.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about what the time frame for that looks like.
So we actually will be starting at 11 p.m. April 28th until 11 p.m. on April 29th.
All right, excellent. And all of us have some matching swag here that we're sporting today, and on the back of it, I probably throw out my bag if I turn around too quickly here. But on the back of it, it says, "Changing students' lives starts with us," and that's really been a mantra that we live out every single day in our Division of Institutional Advancement, and really for most of our PNW campus community members. So tell us about, what does that mean to you?
So changing students' lives starts with us has been something that our entire university has kind of attached to because every single day we see the struggles that the students are going through, and we personally want to support on top of being able to support with with our faculty who teach classes, with any of the staff members that are helping with scheduling them for classes. When we see their struggles, we want to help them. So being able to say changing students' lives starts with us truly starts with all of our faculty and staff on campus, and we invite the entire community to join us on that mission.
Absolutely. And our students are some of the most astounding folks that you will have the opportunity to meet. They are resilient in everything that they do, from their academics, their extracurriculars, what they're doing out in the community. And so, exactly, to your point, changing students' lives does start with us because we want to be able to help support them through any challenge that they're going through. So, to kind of help illustrate this a little bit more, Jill and Laura, I'm going to turn to you here next. Starting off with Laura, tell us a little bit about your background as a PNW alumna and how you came to return to the institution to help serve students and help make a difference in their lives.
Kale, thank you for asking me that. And I want to first say how happy and really humbled I am to be here, because for those of you listening, I don't know that your story is any different than ours. I mean, just, being in the studio, this feels like a Region Rat reunion for me. I mean, we all have that same tenacity and background, and the thing about being a Region Rat is just tell us we can't do something and we'll show you what we can do. So I'm happy to be here representing my story, because I know that my story is similar to so many people's. But I will tell you, PNW made me who I am. I was first generation to go to college. My parents went to high school. My grandparents went to the 8th grade. And I was a full-time cashier at Munster Lumber, which became Handy Andy, and I know that many of the listeners remember that. And now there's a Monon train station there, so times change. But I had an internship in fundraising because of my PNW advisor. I had never even heard of fundraising, and now it's become a career for me. I was 20 years old. The placement office at PNW sent my resume to a bunch of places in Chicago. And I was actually hired and got my first job at 20 years old working in downtown Chicago because of PNW. And here I am now 3 decades later, having gotten a master's and a doctorate, and have had a successful career in nonprofit. And it really began with the opportunities at PNW.
Absolutely. And so tell us a little bit about what inspired you to want to return to the institution as a director of development, and also tell us a little bit about what you do with your role.
Sure. So thank you. I am just so pleased to be here and having the ability to pay it forward. I went on to have a career working in Chicago for decades, and am just delighted to have the opportunity to give back to the institution that made me who I am. I will tell you, giving is so important. So many people don't realize it is the smallest amount of money that often keeps a student from persisting. The national statistic is it's just under $300 that will keep a student from persisting and staying in school. One of the things that I've been able to do, and because of my time that I spent at PNW and having a career was to travel. And what I have done is I've created a travel scholarship at PNW. And what inspired me to do that, and for those of you listening, you can create a scholarship for whatever your passion is, and mine is travel. But I chose that because, and there are probably folks out there who went to Gavitt. I went to Gavitt. And I will tell you that in 7th grade at Gavitt, we took a field trip up to the dunes, to Mount Baldy. And I got to the very top of Mount Baldy, and I was following my classmates, and I had classmates following me. So here we are, a bunch of 13-year-olds at the top of this sand dune. And I looked out at Lake Michigan, and I exclaimed, "Oh, my God, is that the ocean?" And I was just so stupefied to see something so beautiful. And my classmates and my teacher ran up to me. My classmates, they kind of giggled, and they said, "You idiot, that's Lake Michigan." And my teacher said, "Laura, have you never seen Lake Michigan?" And I said, "No, I hadn't. I grew up 4 miles away from it and had never seen it." And I know that I am not the only kid in the region to have that experience. I mean, there's kids who live on the south side of Chicago who's never seen the Willis Tower, which I'm just going to call the Sears Tower, but right?
Thanks.
And so I was inspired to create this travel scholarship because I want students to have the opportunity to explore and to know that their world is as big as they want it to be.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, and that's a very touching story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And you bring up a very good point that we want to be able to open the doors for our students to be able to achieve all of their dreams. And there are financial barriers that can happen in a number of different scenarios that can impact their education path. And when somebody chooses to make a very generous gift, like you said, no matter how small or large, it can make a world of a difference for our students that can help them with textbooks, tuition, opportunities, travel scholarships, and like you said, it can really change their lives, and that's why changing students' lives starts with us. So let me ask you one more question. So in your role, when you're interacting with campus community members and folks that are out in the public, what do you like to emphasize for them about the story of Purdue Northwest and why they can help be a part of that and making a difference?
I appreciate that. And what I like to share is that, as Kale was saying, every gift helps. The fact that a student will stay in school because of $250, I mean, for that student, it might as well be $25,000 because it's insurmountable. And so really, it's the fact that no matter what you give, it makes a difference. And even if you can't give a gift of cash, I mean, you can actually leave PNW in your estate plans. I mean, if you think about it, there's the ancient proverb that sometimes you still have to plant the tree, even if you're not the one who gets to eat the fruit. And so investing in PNW is really investing in the region, because if you can't go to the doctor and you can't go to the hospital without finding a student who went to PNW who is a nurse or went on to be a doctor, or you can't go to a school and have your child taught without someone being a PNW teacher. And so our accountants, our bankers, this is what makes up our community. So when you invest in PNW, you're investing back into the region.
Absolutely. Let's shift gears here. And Jill Jones, who is joining us, is one of our wonderful alumni and is the founder of Jones Consulting, LLC. And Jill, I want to be able to ask you about your student experience at PNW. So we were talking a little bit earlier this week as we were preparing for the show, and you have a very touching story about how someone's gift made an impactful difference for you. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me here. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I'm also a region rat. I grew up in Hammond. My father, very hardworking iron worker. Shout out to Local 395 to all his brothers and sisters there. Ed Corey is his name. They know him. And Mom was a homemaker, the best mom that anybody could ever ask for. We always knew we were going to go to college because we were just told you're going to go to college, but there wasn't a fund. So it was kind of like, okay, so we're going to college, but how do we do that? And, long story short, I ended up I graduated in 84 from Hammond High, and I started immediately after that, was in for a year. We moved. I didn't have a car because I didn't have a license because I didn't have a car. So I couldn't get back to school, so I had to drop. And I ended up, dumb luck, working at Sauser's Waffle Shop. So all you old folk out there know what that is. As a bookkeeper, because my grandmother made me fill out an application for Kittyland. And my mother said, just do it. Don't worry about it. You won't have to work at Kittyland. But they owned the waffle shop. And she said, well, you're good at math and I need a bookkeeper. I said, well, what's bookkeeping? And from there, I became an accountant. And I decided I'm going back to school. But I was working full time. I was saving for a wedding and I needed to be able to fund this. So I paid for my classes as I went. I didn't want to be stuck with loans. I paid as I could go because I could only really add time for one or two. But I paid as I went. And there was a year, and I don't remember which one, could have been any of them, that I received a $200 scholarship. And I think it was the East Chicago Business Professional Women's Group or something like that. And I was in tears because that $200 meant I could buy books. That was just huge. So, all of these little things matter. It's just a typical story. I'm not. Yeah, there are some students that can come right out of high school and they can make it through their 4 years, and God bless them for that. But I think there's a whole lot more who are more like our stories where we had to find our way to fund it. We persevered. We worked because we grew up in families that had that kind of work ethic, and that's what makes our region so strong and what makes our student base so strong, because they're there because they want to be there. Mm-hmm. And when you're paying for those classes out of pocket, you're going to get that A, right? You're going to show up. That was my story.
Yeah. And we were also talking a little bit earlier this week. So you have decided with your professional career, you wanted to stay rooted in Northwest Indiana, and you wanted to continue helping make this area the best that it can be, as well as supporting PNW students. So can you tell us a little bit about your drive there? Yes,
when I graduated, in fact, one of the professors, this is what I love about Purdue Northwest, is that you have this very close relationship with your professors. You don't have TAs teaching you, it's the professors, and they know you as a student. And I was an accounting finance major, I double majored, and my accounting, he was the interim dean at the time, Shomer Sill, and he said, well, Jill, you're going to take the CPA exam, aren't you? And I wasn't planning on it. I was planning on doing cost accounting for manufacturing. That's what I wanted to do. But it was a challenge. I never back it down, and I said, I guess so, I'll take it. And so I took a review class, but I took it during the last semester of school, and I was taking it, and he kept saying, oh, you'll pass. And my other instructors, you're going to pass the first time. You're going to pass. And then I thought, oh, crap, I better pass, right? So now I have to pass. And I did. Like 5 months later, you find out, because back in those days, you wrote essays and all those things. But I found out. And I knew I passed. So at that point, that's what launched me into public accounting, which is what created my whole career. But I started interviewing downtown, and I would take the train and I would interview anything near Randolph in Michigan so I could walk to it. And I hated it. I didn't feel the sense of community that I did when I was working in small businesses that were putting me through school. Everybody's coming to the city and then they all leave. We're here, you're running into your clients, you're running into your neighbors, you're part of the community, you're invested in the not-for-profits. And I I said, no, I want to be here. I like being here, working with the small businesses in the community. And you find over the years, and I've had many of them in my career, that it becomes a small world. It's amazing, but it really becomes a small world. And being part of this community, and I think that's one of the biggest strengths of Purdue Northwest, is that we have so many students, and I don't know the statistics, I'd love to know it, but I would venture to guess that the majority are still here in the region. I too was a first generation, but my family's been here for 3-4 generations, and we're not going anywhere. And and so we're bringing all that talent. So when you're supporting the school, you don't have to have a student here. You don't have to have been alumni. You have to realize that every leader that, so many of today's community leaders are alumni. And tomorrow's leaders are going to be alumni. And that makes for a stronger community. That makes for better service. How many times have we had nursing shortages over the past 30 years? What would that look like if Purdue didn't have this amazing nursing program? So everybody's benefiting from the leadership that we gain, from the staffing of services that we need. And that's why I think it's important that the community as a whole consider backing up and making a contribution, however small, however large. I think that's important.
Exactly. Well, I'm feeling very inspired to be changing students' lives with the stories that we have been hearing so far this morning. Yvonne, we haven't even gotten to yours, but
you know what?
But you're going to be with us on
it.
the second segment. So
I love it. And Jill, we couldn't have paid her to say something better, right? She did absolutely great. And I loved how you talked about you do not need to be alumni to support the university.
No.
And that's the best part. A lot of our boards across all the different colleges are community members, and many are alumni, but many aren't, because they realize the strength that the university has within the region, and all the alumni that stay within the region or Indiana to help benefit the state.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And I'll just throw out the quick number because we were mentioning this. If you go to pnw.edu/alumni, you can find a lot of great information about the impacts that our alumni community is doing. 73,000 plus, a lot of whom do stay in Northwest Indiana, exactly to your point. We have a few minutes left before we will transition to our second segment. But Jill, I want to ask one other question for you. We were also talking about a very generous gift that you and your spouse made during last year's PNW Day of Giving. Would you like to tell us about that?
Sure. I really got reconnected with the university maybe just 2 years ago. Yeah. And it had been 30 years since I've been on campus, literally. And the energy that I feel, every student is nodding and smiling as you walk by. The energy when you're with, especially the students that are closer to graduation, it took me right back to that feeling of, I can't wait to get out in the world and see what I can do. And that energy is everywhere in that campus. I found, my husband and I had always said, it took me 9 years from high school to graduation. I believe it took my husband 21 years of on and off to get his bachelor's. We both had always said, someday we want to, I'd like to do a scholarship, something to help students, because we both were working and putting ourselves through. And when two people are going to school and both working, it's tough. So I had met the dean 2 years ago of the College of Business, and I kind of told my story, and she had told me how there was basically a checking account that was available for the dean, and it was like a discretionary emergency fund. And for example, I've had examples of here you've got a student who's close to graduating, and they talk to their professors because they have that kind of relationship, and they say, I can't attend this. I can't take all 4 classes. I can only take 2 because I need to work more hours because I have a car repair that needs to be done, or I have a medical bill that I am trying desperately to pay down. And the College of Business dean has an emergency fund that's available at their discretion for those kinds of things. And those things pop up whenever. I mean, there's not really a path to getting funding for something like that. You just try to figure it out, but it slows the progress. And when I heard about that, and I talked with my husband, I said, you know what? They have the fund, they have the account, but and people donate to it, but there's no strong basis for it. So we decided, my husband Daryl Jones and I decided to create an endowment for that fund. So now there is, there's dollars that are earning money to annually fund that checking account, and that's what we're going to be doing going forward each year. With this is to add to that. And that's something you all can do. You can add to any of the endowments that are there. When you go onto the site, it'll show you, I believe, you can, it can just be, here's a donation for, whatever needs to be done. Or I want it to go to a certain school of nursing. I want it to go to College of Business. Or you want to add to any of the, endowments that are there. And that felt amazing. And that was our way of giving back, because without our educations and the support that we had from the staff and just overall the school, we wouldn't have been in the position to be able to create that endowment.
Thank you so much for both you and Daryl's very wonderful generosity in supporting our students. And also, gosh, Laura, thank you so much for your generosity as you described with the travel scholarship.
Awesome.
And we're also making our gifts how we can as well. There's a lot of great energy, as Jill said, with our students on campus, and we would love for you to be able to be a part of that story. Again, Day of Giving is going to be on April 29th this year. Mark your calendars. 24 hours to be able to help make a gift in support of our students. Go to pnw.edu/giving to be able to find out more information. And we're going to go ahead and do a very quick transition. So thank you so much for tuning in to learn more about what PNW Day of Giving is about. But stick around and we'll tell you more what to expect on the day of. We're going to do a quick guest swap. So stick around. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Thanks.
Introducing Powers Health, a health system with a new name and a strong legacy of caring for families in our community. One with a tradition of advanced specialized services and a vision for the future. One with a commitment to medical excellence and compassionate care. Everything we do, everything we believe, powers health.
Life's biggest challenges don't come with a warning. When legal issues arise, whether it's a car accident, personal injury, criminal charge, or representing you before municipal boards, you need a trusted advocate on your side. At Westland & Bennett, we listen first because your story matters. We provide strategic, personalized legal solutions to protect your rights, your freedom, and your future. Peace of mind starts with a conversation. Call 219-440-7550 today for a free consultation.
Ennigenberg Roofing offers roof replacements, repairs, and new construction. CertainTeed Shingle Master certified, our goal is to treat every customer and project with respect, courtesy, and honesty. Serving Northwest Indiana for over 63 years, contact us for a free roof replacement estimate at 219-365-8879. Mention this ad and receive a free upgrade to CertainTeed Pro Shingles. Ennigenberg Roofing, 219-365-8879.
Indiana wants me. Know a Hoosier serving in the military or living overseas? Indiana wants every eligible Hoosier to participate in our elections. Military and overseas voters can register and vote securely from anywhere in the world. Voting assistance for service members, families, and eligible Hoosiers is available now. Visit IndianaWantsYou.com or contact your county election office. And remember, Indiana wants you. Message sponsored by your Indiana Secretary of State. Indiana wants me.
Do you like to work with your hands, creating something from nothing? Then think about Laborers Local 41. You'll get 432 hours of apprenticeship training, all while earning a wage with benefits and incurring no student debt. You'll travel to different job sites, learn tons of skills, and in a lot of cases, be the first one on and the last one off a job site. It all starts at laborers41.com.
Okay, we are back from our break again. It is Thursday, April 2nd, 2026. It's the PNW Today program on WJOB, JED TV, and JED TV podcasts. Again, I'm Kayla Wilk. I'm a media and communications specialist in the Office of Marketing and Communications at the university. And this is basically our power hour to talk about all things PNW Day of Giving. So we just did a quick guest swap here, and just to reintroduce some folks here, to my immediate left, now joining, we have Deanna Hardwick, who is an Executive Director of Development within Institutional Advancement. Deanna, thank you so much for being here on this morning.
Thank you so much for having me, Kale.
And you're no stranger to the PNW Today program, so it's great to be able to have you back. And also somebody who is also not a stranger, Valencia Hepburn, who is a Computer Information Technology and Cybersecurity double major. Valencia, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Hi, Kale. Good morning, everyone. It's awesome being here.
And we all know Yvonne Lopez, right? Again, Annual Giving and Donor Communication Specialist within Institutional Advancement. Yvonne is going to help with our talking points again for this segment.
Thank you for letting me join twice.
Yeah. And like I say, it's the cast that helps make the show. All of you have wonderful details and information to be able to provide for us. So as we start talking here about PNW Day of Giving and what to expect on the day of and what that impact can look like for students, Yvonne, just quickly run through it for us again. If there's anybody that has just tuned in, what is PNW Day of Giving? Mm-hmm. What's the date and the time frames for those, and where can folks go to find more information?
Absolutely. I'd love to share those details. So a PNW Day of Giving is our largest annual campaign supporting PNW students and the resources that benefit them. It's an opportunity for you to join our mission to change our region and the world. It's 24 hours starting at 11 p.m. April 28th, so that Tuesday night, until April 29th, a Wednesday at 11 p.m. So 11 to 11. You can visit us at dayofgiving.pnw.edu to make your gift. I'm excited to share that there are a number of funds and different units that you can make your gift, whatever your passions are. We have a lot of different opportunities for that. We have 17 units joining us, 108 different funds from student orgs to the colleges to the units to emergency funds, all kinds of things. So wherever your passions lie, whether that be environmental for GABUS, speaking for Sinai events, and then we have, again, everything that really support our students. So any size gift can help us make a life-changing impact for one or more students on campus, and we invite you to join us.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing more about that, Yvonne. And exactly to your point, April 29th, that is your day to help join us in changing students' lives. And as Yvonne noted, there are many different options for how you can choose to make an impact for our students. If you feel like you want to help a student who might be facing a barrier with food insecurity, not having enough funds for an emergency that might come up, we have pools that can help with that, like the Dean of Students Emergency Fund and our PNW Food Pantry. If you feel passionate about donating to students' academic success. We have a number of different scholarship funds that you can also consider too. And as Yvonne pointed out, there's a number of other different resources too, like Gabus Arboretum at Purdue Northwest. There's so many different ways that you can show your generosity, no matter how small or large, to help us in changing students' lives. So as we kind of touched on this a little bit in the first segment, but I'd love to be able to touch on the second segment. Deanna's very great as well, because we kind of went around in the circle to talk about what changing students' lives starts with us means. So Deanna, tell us about what that means for Purdue Northwest.
That's a great question, Kale. Changing students' lives starts with us really was an organic initiative that we drove internally to talk about the difference giving makes to really transform a student's life. Prior to the pandemic, we heard a lot about $500 is really that amount that can be the obstacle between a student persisting and dropping out. That doesn't sound like a lot of money, but when that stands between a student achieving their dream of a PNW degree, we can really start to tell that story of how that gift changed a student's life. And so we started talking about how do we tell that story? And we looked internally. We looked at our faculty and staff who are incredibly generous and who are making gifts, again, to your point, Kayla, of any size, a $10 gift, a $100 gift, or a transformational gift where someone is establishing a named endowment. These are really opportunities for us to help our faculty and staff understand why their giving matters and how incredibly grateful we are for it. And then also tell the stories of the students' persistence and grit and determination and what it takes to get them across the finish line. My two favorite times of years are when students land on campus and when they walk across the stage, really soup to nuts. So it's been a fun initiative. It is growing. You will see us wearing all kinds of swag around the community that say changing students' lives starts with us. And we really look to invite anyone who would like to join us on this Day of Giving or throughout the year. How do you make your difference? Just reach out and join us on April 29th. We would just be ecstatic to see your name on our leaderboard. So,
absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing more about that, Deanna. And speaking of, exactly to your point, commencement is going to be coming up soon, and thinking about gowns and caps and so Valencia, it's been such a pleasure to see how much that Valencia has grown as a student and as a budding professional. Valencia, I would like to ask you to share a little bit more about your PNW student experience and your background and how you have been impacted by supporters for the university. So first, tell us a little bit about why you became interested in computer information technology and cybersecurity, and what are your long-term career goals?
Right. Loaded question. So I feel very fortunate to know that I wanted to pursue technology from a very young age. My mom bought me my first little gateway laptop, and I opened up Google, and I was like, what is this? I need to know more. And so that's kind of what launched my interest in technology. And when I was searching for universities coming in as an international student, I was transferring in, and I was like, I need a good technology program, and stumbled across PNW, like a little ad on Google, so full circle, I guess. And I applied, and I got in, and I was telling Deanna a little bit earlier, everything just fell into place from there. And so PNW has been such a life-changing university for me, something that I will always attribute all of my success to, teachers and faculty and gifts, honestly. My time here wouldn't have been possible without gifts from donors, and so it's been awesome.
And I do want to note, you just came back from a conference, correct?
I did, just came back from a conference, yeah. I had the Women in Cybersecurity Conference in Washington, D.C. this year, and I went as the only representative from PNW, which was nerve-wracking, but it was awesome.
And it was awesome. And I love that because the college was able to send you, and funds help send students to conferences as well. That was my story. The university sent me to Las Vegas for a conference. It was amazing. It was the first time I'd ever been to Las Vegas. It was the first time I had ever been to a conference as a student. So that changed my entire life. And I'm so glad that we were able to send you.
Yeah. I'm grateful for my college, to be honest.
Yeah. And so tell us a little bit about how supporters of the university have been able to help impact your academic career, and how have you been able to take advantage of those opportunities to enhance your student experience?
Yeah, so as a graduating senior, everybody knows, I mean, if you are about to cross that line, it's nerve-wracking. You have assignments, you have so much things to worry about on a daily basis, and tuition happens to be one of those worries, right? And so I was super grateful through donor-funded scholarships from my college that it could support my academic journey, my ability to even be here and to continue studying, so that I don't have to worry about that, or I can worry about that a little bit less, and I'm able to focus on my studies and really hunker down and take advantage of all the other opportunities that PNW has to offer. Another way that donor-funded things help is food pantry, right? Once again, food, a basic necessity that a lot of students worry about now, myself included. And so even a small donation of a box of cereal helps so far. And I've went to the food pantry so much times in order to eat. So those types of donations mean the world, to be honest, and really drive me forward.
Yeah. And thank you so much for being willing to share more about that with us. So to piggyback off of one of those talking points, Deanna and Yvonne, I wanted to tee this question up for you. So, Valencia noted that impact can really be that difference in helping motivate a student to keep powering onward to their degree, where you might encounter a barrier in your life. Could be one or more things, and when you know that you have somebody that's in your corner, that's from your faculty members and staff members that are supporting you in the day-to-day operations, but also the supporters, whether that's Day of Giving or throughout the academic year, that are also in your corner there to help you power onward. That can mean so much to somebody, right?
Yeah, Kale, that's a really great point. I talk to alumni all the time, and they resonate with our students today. They walked this path. They struggled in the same ways that Valencia is talking about. And that's why, that is their impetus for giving back. That's why they want to do this, because they remembered the struggle that they faced, and the powering onward that they had to dig deep and find ways to move forward. There are so many, I can't even begin to name them. You see them in the community. They are pillars in the community, but they are also teachers and bankers and grocers and community leaders, and they reach out all the time asking how they can help. We establish endowed scholarships to help students get access to funds to travel abroad, or just scholarship dollars, or ways to improve classrooms. There's so much generosity in our PNW family. I just cannot say thank you enough to the people out there who reach out. And again, it is any size gift. It all makes an incredible difference. But we are really, really lucky to have the community that we have on campus and out in the Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland area. But Yvonne, you also see a lot of that coming in just through the acknowledgments that we send out thanking people.
Oh, absolutely. I think that a lot of times when we share the thank you message, because we love to say thank you for the impact that you're making, because sometimes it's not really well known. Sometimes you make a small donation and you don't think it makes a difference, but when you get the thank you, it's so important. But a lot of our donors, have been moved to tears from letters from students saying thank you. And when I hear the stories of our, student workers, our graduate students, they've made me cry. It's so hard to not want to get involved and to help, because we are helping far beyond the university. It goes beyond the region. It goes beyond everywhere. So thank you so much for all of that you've given. And again, we invite you to join us on that day to make an impact for students, but the community and the world.
Yeah. Yvonne, I wanted to tee up the question as well for you. So as one of our wonderful alumni for the institution, tell us a little bit about how you see yourself in our students and why you feel moved to help them.
Thank you for that question. That's a great question. Earlier, we had Lauren Mannion and Jill Jones on here. Their stories sound like my story. My story sounds like Valencia's story. Throughout the generations, every single PNW student sounds and looks the same. We're very resilient. We have a lot of determination. We have the ability to want to do better, to help each other. The amount of times that I'm on campus and I hear students asking each other, hey man, how was that test? Did you do good? Did you knock it out of the park? Just the encouragement alone is so uplifting. And so it makes me want to join. My story again is I was a non-traditional first generation student. I ended up having my daughter my junior year. I was faced with, do I drop out those scholarships? Oh my gosh, everything helped me to not take a break. And, as we heard, Jill Jones took several breaks, and that is totally okay. But the amount of passion that we have, each story is unique but the same. Each story sounds different, but there's that community in which we've all kind of gone through those struggles, and we want to come back and we want to give back. I studied hospitality management. So how does that, turn into a higher education career? Again, our paths, what we go down, and I tell students this all the time, you may study in College of Business, you may study mechanical engineering, but your path may be different, and that's okay, because of the impact that we want to make for our communities. And our alumni are doing great things out there. So that I have to give back. I have to. It's not a want. It's the want to see my community do well and the university do well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being willing to share more about your personal story with us, and really for everyone so far during the segment. Thank you so much for really your candid feelings to be able to illustrate the importance of what supporters' generosity really means to our students. Just to kind of piggyback off of some of those points, when you're helping our students succeed and power onward to graduation, just even with earning their bachelor's degree from Purdue Northwest, just citing some information from a third-party study that was conducted on the university's impact, that can be on average $22,000 annually in earnings that our newest graduates who finish with a bachelor's degree can anticipate or expect as they move into their professional careers. And for the university's impact on the region, it's estimated there's nearly $746 million that in impact that the university annually provides for our area. So as we've been emphasizing, you're making essentially kind of like a twofold impact for our students. You are helping change their lives as they're powering onward toward their degrees and helping them be able to graduate on time or graduate in a good time frame, relieve financial barriers or struggles that they might be encountering. And then you're also making a very strong investment in our area because we have alumni who choose to stay in Northwest Indiana.
Yes.
This university continues to innovate in so many amazing and astounding ways. And you get to be a part of that story. So again, just because I love shouting out URLs, pnw.edu/giving or dayofgiving.pnw.edu. That's where you can go to find more information ahead of April 29th, which again is going to be PNW Day of Giving. So we're obviously not starting from the ground up. So I just want to also be able to tee up the question here that we have had some very good participation in recent years. So Deanna or Yvonne, would you like to talk a little bit about just the response, the really astounding response that we have gotten from our supporters over these recent years?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to share some details. So from 24 to 25, we had 3,100 gifts. We were ranked third among 73 participants within the Purdue system. That was a 50% increase from 24 to 25. And we get so excited about Day of Giving because so many people see the impact that it's made, and they want to be a part of that mission. I think that what's important to note here is that, yes, we are changing students' lives, but it goes beyond that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was really, really exciting last year. I mean, Yvonne, you've got some great data points right there, but I can tell you, like, we could not keep up fast enough with the phone calls, the emails, the texts. What can I do? How can I get involved? I ran out to grab something to drink, and I had 3 phone calls during that time just to come back in. And these were transformational gifts. These were endowed scholarships that people were driven to make during this Day of Giving. There's a lot of work that goes into it, but then they hear the stories. They hear the stories of the impact, the student stories. I mean, there are so many students like you walking around, showing off this incredible experience that they've had, but they truly, Valencia, you are 1 in a million, but our students are 1 in a million. And
Absolutely.
We see this every day. We see them in the hallways talking, sitting in classrooms that wouldn't be nearly as technologically advanced if it wasn't for someone else's generosity. So we are preparing the next generation of leaders. We are just so excited. I think you can probably tell in all of our voices, we are really, really excited about this, and we just want you to join us. There's so many opportunities to get involved. Please, as Kale's given you the email or the website addresses, look and get involved and reach out and let us know what you need from us to make this as personal to you as you'd like.
And I have to also share, sorry to cut you off,
no,
Gail, there's a competitive nature to it as well within the university. While we understand this mission is so important, we like to make it a little fun too, right? It's a celebration. It's our 10-year celebration. And we've already been meeting with all the different campus units and partners to get them excited. And there is that competitive nature. And I have to shout out to PNW Athletics because our student athletes, I mean, man, they hit the ground running. And, you know, when we looked at our numbers for last year for them, they were like, we're going to do better than that. So then we're looking at all our other, you know, units, and we're like, hey, so like, I know you always want to make it a goal to beat somebody. You might have to step it up a little this year. It's getting pretty competitive. But it is easy to go around and ask support when you're sharing your story. When you share your story of, wow, you know, and I wasn't part of student organizations. I was a part of a couple of clubs, and I got excited because I'm like, we got to, you know, do all these different activities because of these donations. So we really drove donations that way as well. So the competitiveness does make it fun.
Yeah. Aren't there some challenges
that
supporters
absolutely.
can
Yes.
expect this year? Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, there are different challenges to be able to earn bonus funds to each of your different areas. We have some social media challenges that are exciting. We have them for different times throughout the day. You can find that on our website. We do have a social media toolkit so that if you want to be an ambassador of the university, please go on to the site that Kale shouts out. There is a link to the toolkit, and we ask anyone can be an ambassador for the university. You can make a gift as small or as large as you can, but also sharing the news on your social media feed, sharing your story, more importantly, kind of giving us nostalgic vibes. We had a lot of our alumni board members share their story that day, and it was so fun to see all their throwback pictures, and it was really a full circle moment to kind of say, this was me, and here I am giving back. So be sure to check out the toolkit. You will be able to see all the different challenges to be able to raise additional funds for the unit that you give to.
Absolutely. And also, speaking of stories, I do want to tee up a question here for Valencia as well. So Valencia is one of our wonderful student workers in the Division of Institutional Advancement. Shout out. And I wanted to be able to ask you as well. So on PNW Day of Giving, you've had the opportunity to help with some of those thank you messages to our generous supporters. So can you tell us a little bit about what feedback that you have heard when you've gotten in touch with them and why they were inspired to give?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. So every time I make calls, it's always so nice. Everyone that's given, they always tell me and they share their own stories. Hey, my son or my daughter, my kid, they are on the athletics team, or they're in College of Business, or they are an alumni. And there's usually a lot of Purdue Cal alumni. Shout out Purdue Cal, Northwest. Alumni is talking like, yes, this school was instrumental to my success. Or there's a lot of friends. There's also a lot of students giving back, which I think is awesome. I think as a student body, we have each other, right? And so students giving back to students is like, what more can you ask for? We have a lot of students that are giving like, yeah, my friend's in this club and I want to support the club, or in this fraternity and I want to support the fraternity. So it's always very nice. It's always very welcoming and receptive, and a lot of people really appreciate it. Some older people talk about, wow, I never got these type of calls before, like no one's ever reached back out to me after making a gift. This is so personalized. I'm like, yeah, we appreciate you. And it's always nice to talk to the people, especially when they're giving towards organizations or departments that I am directly involved in and that I directly receive help with, like Honors College. Shout out Honors.
Yeah.
So that's excellent. And thank you for sharing more about that. So we have a few minutes here before we have to wrap up for today. And we could probably talk for hours about the impact that our supporters have for PNW Day of Giving, because as our other cast members have emphasized, we do feel very moved and very touched when there are these personal anecdotes of why somebody feels motivated to give in support of our students and helping us in changing students' lives. So, Valencia, we're going to put you on the spot here to bring us home. What would you say to our listeners and to our supporters of the university about why they should join us on April 29th for PNW Day of Giving to help change students' lives?
Big responsibility, but I think I would say, and it's something that we've all been saying, community is how we power onward, right? We have each other, and it's through that community aspect of helping one another that we should really lean into. And so any sort of help that you can give to students means the world, as we've all been talking about. We're all coming from places that may not have been the best, may have been awesome, who knows. But the way that we move forward as a region, as individuals, is helping one another. And so if you feel inclined, I definitely encourage you to give a gift to students like me. Trust me, it goes way farther than you may realize, both mentally and like physically at school. And so any gift, big or small, to any initiative means the world to students, and we give back to the region just as so.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Well, as I kind of said during the first segment, I am feeling so inspired to be making some gifts for PNW Day of Giving, again, April 29th. And I just want to say a big thank you to the cast that we have for this segment, as well as Jill Jones and Laura Mannion, who joined us for the first part. Thank you so much for all the great information that you have shared. And I hope that for anyone who has tuned in and listened today, that you are also feeling inspired. Again, for April 29th, please consider making a gift in support of our students. The website to be able to go to for the day of will be dayofgiving.pnw.edu. And as Yvonne was mentioning, you can go ahead and browse there to see the different units that you can choose from and the number of different funds that you can also choose to make an impact for. You have a number of different options and ways to go ahead and make your gift count for our students. So that is going to do it for the April 2nd PNW Today program. Thank you so much again to everyone for listening. And just got to give one additional shout out here. PNW community member Adriana Alvarez, who has always been holding it down so well for us. One of our seniors in the Communication and Creative Arts Department. So shout out for CCA. And thank you, Adriana, as always, for your wonderful skills and generous help for producing. So that's going to do it for PNW Today. And we are going to be back in early May to talk about commencement. We'll have Chancellor Holford joining us, as well as a few standout students who are going to be finishing up their undergraduate academic careers. So if you want to look for more information, go to pnw.edu/calendar to see upcoming show dates for not only PNW Today, but also PNW Athletics Today. Our friends in the athletics department will be in the studio next week, so be sure to watch out for them. So until then, take care, and we'll talk to you next time.
For over 100 years, Roofers Local 26 has been keeping Northwest Indiana dry and safe. Since 1919, our highly trained members have built a reputation for skills, safety,